still get the results, don't you? What about natural disasters? That's collective karma. All of a sudden there's so many people there and then there isn't. Remember the tsunami, 2001?
Yes.
In Asia, I can't remember, Indian Ocean, wasn't it? Yeah, I had 3 clients. I do Vedic astrology. I've been doing it for 48 years. I had 3 clients that were in that tsunami, were there. And the one gentleman was managing a huge hotel. And he was up on the 5th floor looking down as the wave came in at speed. And they were quite somewhat inland. In other words, all the flotsam and jetsam was already coming at speed, all the destruction. And he looked over the balcony below and he watched 80 of his employees get wiped out and killed in that disaster. When I met him, he told me that story. And a very interesting coincidental thing happened because he was driving me somewhere. This was in Thailand years later. And the phone rang. His phone rang. He started speaking. Well, I don't speak his language. And he starts giggling, you know. No. Hangs up the phone. He says, that was the man that I used to work for that owned the hotel. He wants me to come back there and manage the new hotel that he built. I said, no way, I'm going. One tsunami was enough, right? Yeah. Okay. Collective karma, natural disasters. How do you enjoy the, what were we in there? COVID, what did they call it? I can't think of the word.
Epidemic.
Pandemic. How'd you enjoy that? That was all made up out of whole cloth. That was all nonsense, start to finish. They shut everything down though for 3 years, pretty much. Okay, our best solution is to get out of the storm-tossed material ocean by means of rising above it all in the transcendence of Krishna consciousness. We have to rise above it and not continue to get tossed. This alone will save us from all turmoil. Janma mrityu jara vyadi dukkha dosha darshan. Janma, birth, mrityu, death, jara, old age, vyadi, disease, dukkha, suffering. Doshana darshanam means we don't. Our flaw, our dosha is that we don't understand clearly what it means. That no matter how successful we are in life and no matter what you've achieved, at the end, it's finished. And then you come back again, and again, and again. When are you going to wake up and rise above it? Persons who are unevolved falsely identify with material consciousness and are full of material designations. Well, you know, it's bad enough that we it's bad enough that we think we're this body and we're all wrapped up in it and overly identified with it. But now, what do we got? We got woke. We got the whole woke crew, LGBTQ++. I don't know them all now. I used to know that many, but so not only am I not a man, I might be identifying as a dog right now. I might be identifying as a woman, and I might want to go into the Olympics and compete against the women because I say I'm a woman. I mean, how deep does the illusion have to be? This is way over the top. Not in my lifetime. I'm 75 years old, my friends. In my entire lifetime, I've never seen that before. Have you? Probably not. Is it not enough that we have one body? We have to now come up with these other designations. Okay, God bless them all. God bless them. Ignorant persons think of the body as the self. They accept bodily connections with others as their kinsmen. The land in which the body is obtained as their object of worship. Oh, my friends, in Ireland, the Irish, oh, they love their land. Fully identified. Do you know when the Irish travel to different countries, the first place they go? Where all the other Irish are. That's usually the pub. And that's where they meet up. Is this true or not? Absolutely, I know it's true. Okay. And they consider the formalities of religious rituals to be ends in themselves. Well, I did this and I did that. Yeah, but where's your consciousness? Social work, nationalism, and altruism are some of the activities for such materially designated persons. You might argue, yeah, well, that's a good thing. Social work, nationalism, altruism. That is a good thing. That's sattva guna. It's a mode of goodness. You're helping others. Typically, how do you help them? You're either going to feed them. You turn off the phone, please. Whatever phone that is, thank you. So you're going to feed them. You're going to clothe them. You're going to house them. You're going to help them medically, right? That's all physical. What are you going to do for them spiritually? Is there a problem with the phone? Should I fix it for you? I can. Okay. Under the spell of such designations, they are always busy in material life. For them, spiritual realization is either unknown or it's just a myth. Well, you know, I've been connected. I had an awakening when I was 19 years old. I read all these books on spirituality, yoga, and meditation. I began to practice all that, but it was all Mayavad. It was all, I'm God, you're God, let's merge into the oneness, lose our identity. And then I read the Bhagavad Gita when I was 22, Prabhupada's Gita. That changed everything. I said, who talks like that? I don't know anybody who speaks like that. God talks like that. No one else would. So, that's what that brought me to. And, oh, that's what I was going to say. And you know, for years, I would hear that all of the Shastras, the Indian Shastras, the Vedic Shastras, that's mythology. That's all mythology, Prabhupada would say. That's all myth. None of that ever happened. None of that's true. It's just to help you understand some stuff. Yeah, no, I don't think so. I don't think it's a myth at all. But that's what they try to tell you. If you want myth, read the Bible. You'll get myth. I was raised with it. This material world, this lifetime, and all its experiences are like a dream. When I say the Bible, I meant the New Testament. Let me be clear. This world is, and all of its experiences are like a dream. When you awaken from a dream, what happens? You immediately return to your current life and its duties and responsibilities. Do you know? The dream is soon forgotten, correct? And it is the same at death. When you die, this bubble that we're in bursts. And now we're in the next reality. And this past reality that you've been in for so many years, just like a dream. Well, I sort of remember that. And then, oh, I'm forgetting. gone. Just like any of the dreams that you would have had. When you get up in the morning, it's gone. Here I am. This is my reality. Correct? Okay. Number 2, the mind. The mind are the reins of the chariot, and they are pulled in 5 different directions by the horses, known as the senses. Oh my goodness, the senses. Sound, touch, sight, taste, smell. Yeah. Boomerapanalovayu. 5 senses. Sound. Don't we love to hear beautiful sounds? Yeah. You want to go hear your favorite band at the concert? Hopefully you're not going to. That's not that good. Do you like to hear kirtan? Do you like to hear mantra? Do you have an appreciation for that? Touch. Everybody loves to be touched. Your dog loves to be touched. Your cat. Your wife, your husband, your baby, your friends. You know? Sight. Oh God, oh look at her. Oh, isn't she beautiful? Oh now, yeah. We get captivated. How quickly do we get captivated by certain things that we see and carries us away by the mind. Taste and smell. Well, here's beautiful smells. In this garden. And taste. Tongue, that's the one that can get us into trouble and can also give us the most pleasure. It's the tongue. Well, I look at taste and smell together when I think of the best cooking in the world, which is Indian food. And if you've ever cooked, just a bunch of kids you don't know here that who's listening to many Indian people here in front of you. Taste and smell, and what if it's also offered to Krishna and it's prasad, and now it becomes spiritualized food, which actually can remove or dissipate your karma, your negative karma. See, we can do all those things, but they have to be focused on God. Okay, the mind. Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramati balavandridam tasyaham nigraham manye vayoriva sudushkaram. What's the vayu? Wind, yeah? This is Bhagavad Gita 6:34. The mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, very strong, O Krishna. This is Arjuna speaking. And to subdue it, I think, is more difficult than controlling the wind. Have you ever controlled the wind on a windy day? Yeah? I don't know. So the mind is even harder to control. Do we all realize that at times? I think we do. In the purport, Prabhupada says, the individual is the passenger in the chariot of the material body. The intelligence is the driver. We said that. Mind is the reins and the senses are the horses. The self is thus the enjoyer or sufferer in the association of the mind and the senses. So the intelligence is the one that's supposed to be the limiter, the controller, right? Keep things in check. Intelligence is supposed to direct the mind, but the mind is so strong and obstinate that it often overcomes even one's own intelligence. We're going to get to that a little bit later. Just like an acute infection may overcome the effective medicine. Sometimes you get so sick that a medicine that's supposed to work does not work. Is that true? Can be. Or they give you something else that makes it worse. Have they done that on occasion? I think so. Just happened to me like 2 weeks ago. The simile used here is appropriate. One cannot capture the wailing wind. And it is even more difficult to capture the turbulent mind. The easiest way to control the mind, as suggested by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The great mantra for deliverance. In all humility, he says. In all humility. We are here to serve. Materialistic people are here to control people and things. That is their goal in life. We see it differently as devotees. We are here to serve people and things, not control. We'll get to the evil. Bandhur atmatmanastasya yenat maivatmanajata anatmanastu shatrutve vartitatmaiva shatruvat. Shatru. You know what a shatru is? Sure you do. Enemy, no? For he who has conquered the mind is the best of friends. You got a good friend? One or two good friends? What will your friend not do for you if you ask them? They'll pretty much do anything. Especially if you're in distress. Isn't it a true friend? Of course it is. When you conquer the mind becomes the best of friends. Is your mind, let me ask you, is your mind the best of friends with you? Anybody? Show of hands, please. My mind is the best of friends. Anybody? No, that's not me putting my hand up. Okay, because my mind is not the best. My best friend. So let's be clear. But for one who has failed to control the mind, to conquer the mind, his mind will remain the greatest shatru, the greatest enemy. And I'll tell you, defeating that enemy, my friends, is it easy? I think it's the hardest thing, one of the hardest things we'll ever do in life. Unless we spiritualize our being. That's our chance. In the purport, the purpose of practicing the eightfold Ashtanga Yoga system is to control the mind in order to make it a friend in discharging the human mission. Unless the mind is controlled, the practice of yoga is simply a waste of time. Okay. But when the mind is conquered, one voluntarily agrees to abide by the dictation of who? Who do we have in the heart? We have the soul, we're going to get to that, the Atma. And we have the Parama Atma, God in the heart, super soul. Right? So, are we going to be able to control the mind of our own accord? Are we going to ask Krishna to help us? Are we going to ask Vishnu in the heart? Krishna in the heart to help us? Prabhupada said sometimes, and I talked about this last time I was here a few days ago, not long ago. Prabhupada said, it is very difficult in Kali Yuga to follow regulative principles and keep strict in terms of your sadhana, your spiritual practice, and inevitably we fall down. We make mistakes, and we have to pick ourselves up. What are they having, a protest?
No, it's born again Christian, I think. Jesus Christ is.
Well, they go right up front here and do it?
No,
Okay.
they're actually on the Collins Street.
Oh,
It's
goodness.
come on this way.
Can't get away from them.
No.
Okay, so, what was I talking about? So, we want to overcome the dictations of lust, anger, avarice, and illusion. Maybe we should close the window now. What do you think?
We should actually.
Because that guy's
It's too, yeah. too destructive.
You know what? In religion, you got religion, you got spirituality. Religion is governed by dogma. Right? It's a relationship with dogma. Spirituality is a relationship with God, Spirit. Religions are exclusive. He's going to tell you, I guarantee it. If you don't believe what I believe, you're all going to hell. Because we're all going to heaven. That's how they talk. And that's what they believe. Here, this is a genuine yoga system, Bhakti Yoga. This is a spiritual system. This is inclusive. We accept everybody. We don't condemn anybody to hell. We accept everybody. That's the difference between religion and spirituality, in case you didn't know. Okay. At the time of death, according to the thinking, feeling, and willing of the mind, which is involved in fruitive activities, one receives a particular body. In other words, the body develops according to the activities of the mind. What you think, you get. If you think you'll never get a job, or they'll never hire me, they won't, likely. If you think you're unworthy and not good enough, you're probably not. I'm not saying you're not worthy, not good enough, but if you believe that, that's what you're putting out there, isn't it? So it's whatever the belief is underneath that creates the reality more than anything. Okay? Changes of the body are due to the flickering of the mind, for otherwise the soul could remain in its original spiritual body, the Siddha Deha. What is your Siddha Deha? Your spiritual body, your eternal spiritual body, which I would say most of us don't recall, have forgotten about. Unless you're a realized soul and you can tell me, oh, this is my Siddha Deha, and this is the rasa that I have with God, and I would say, oh, are you kidding? Or not. Prabhupada says, so you cannot be desireless, the desire must just be purified. That same desire should be utilized for Krishna's service, then it becomes bhakti, love and devotion. Bhakti unfolds into prema. Prema is love of God. We sometimes mistake the activities of the gopis, Krishna and the gopis. It appears just like lusty affairs, but actually this is not the case, he says. The gopis used to dress themselves very nicely, very attractively, so that Krishna would be pleased. That was the gopis' desire. Just like in the material world, the woman dresses very nicely so that the man may be attracted to her. Yes? Is that true? And then both of them will fulfill their sex desire or their sense gratification. That is the material world. But in the spiritual world, the gopis are dressed very nicely, not for the purpose of their own satisfaction, but for the satisfaction and the pleasure of God. Everything you do must have that as the ultimate goal. Correct? So that is prema. If I dress nicely, Krishna will be pleased. That is prema. In the material world, people want to please themselves and their senses. Is that prema? No. It is kama. Desire. Kama disintegrates all the way down to lust. You know? So we should understand the difference between kama and prema. Okay, how are we doing here? We're getting on, right? Number 3. The intellect. The driver of the chariot, the decision maker. Gee, if you wouldn't have turned the wheel real quickly the way you did, we would have been in an accident. How did you do that? I don't know. I just did it. Thank you. We're all still alive. That was quick decision making. Do you ever watch YouTube? Watch some of the accidents and stuff like that. Oh, near misses and yeah, that really sobers you up about life. I'm telling you. And somehow somebody gets missed by this much. Why a big lorry coming at speed. Unbelievable. Okay. Intelligence refers to the power to analyze things in their proper perspective. To call a thing whatever you're calling it, and to be accurate. Not to get it wrong. Say this is this, and that's why it's like that. Okay. You know this verse? Buddhir buddhi matam asmi. You know that? Buddhir buddhi matam asmi. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, verse 10. Buddhi. I am the intelligence of the intelligent. Some of you I know are very, very intelligent. Because I happen to know that the Indian race is extremely intelligent. I've been watching them and participating with them for 53 years. In my opinion, humble though it may be, it's the most intelligent race on the planet. I just heard that, how did I say it? In the U.S., I can't think of how they said it. The minority race that has the most money is the most wealthy is the Indians. Did you know that? In America, number one, next to all the rest of us, the whiteys. Yeah, it's a fact. Okay. Tad buddhayas tad atmanas tan nishtas tad parayanaha gacchant yapu nar avritim jnana nirdutta kalmasha. Kalmasha. You know kalmasha? Sins, huh? You know. This is Bhagavad Gita 5:17. When one's intelligence, mind, faith, and refuge are all fixed in the Supreme. Fixed in the Supreme. Then one becomes fully cleansed of misgivings through complete knowledge and then proceeds straight on the path of liberation. No more samsara. No more repeated birth and death. This is a great verse. Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekeha kurunandana bahushaka hyanantascha udayo vyavasayina. You know that one? It's a lovely verse. That's Bhagavad Gita 2:41. Those whose intellect is resolute in purpose have a single aim. The intelligence of those who are irresolute is many branched. What's the example? You all know your Dharma? Are you all following your Dharma? Your Dharma is your life purpose, the meaning of your life. Is that what you're doing? Or not? Are you doing something different? Or are you doing your Dharma, you're following your path of Dharma, but I get distracted sometimes. Ooh, that looks good. I think I'll go over here for a while. How long can you go over there? Oh, I'll just be a minute or two. 2 years later. 3 years later. What was I thinking? You weren't thinking. You lost your intelligence went somewhere, and your Dharma went out the window, and you're back again. Good to see. Or are you like, you know, have you ever seen these bobblehead dolls in the back of a car? In the back window? Or are you like that bobbleheaded doll? Can't make a decision. Can't make up your mind. Just bobbing along. What's the latest? You know, what do you want to go? Oh yeah, okay, I'll go. You know. Yeah, but aren't you working early tomorrow? Yeah. Well, never mind. I'm coming. Purport. The resolute purpose of a person in Krishna consciousness is based on knowledge. Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. Mahatma, a great soul. Sudurlabha. Very rare. Very hard to find. Because he has to be focused on Vasudeva, on God. A person in Krishna consciousness is the rare soul who knows perfectly that Vasudeva Krishna is the root of all manifested causes. You water the root of the tree, Krishna is the tree, and everything else, the leaves, the flowers, the buds, the branches are all satisfied. Number 4, pretty good. The ego, the guy. The guy who thinks he owns the chariot and everything connected to it. Yeah, that's me. I'm the guy. I'm in control of everyone and everything. Yeah, ego. E-G-O. You know what that stands for? Edging God out. Let's just get him out of the way so I can strut my stuff here. That's the ego. Now, you know, I have thousands of clients. And one of the things I've seen over the past, I've been doing, as I said, Vedic astrology for 48 years. And one of the things I've seen a lot, maybe over the past 25 years, is narcissism. Narcissist. You know what? Everybody knows what that is? Narcissist. That's an egomaniac. But it's actually a diagnosed psychological circumstance or problem. If you had anything to do with a narcissist, you will know. Because you'll say something to a narcissist, yeah, but, you know, why did you do this and that and the other thing? And the guy did those things, and he shouldn't have done them. He will flip that around and tell you why the whole thing was your fault, start to finish. That's what a narcissist does. Because a narcissist is never wrong, ever, ever. You have, you can go all the way down to a pathological narcissist. I've met one or two. When your life is actually at risk because of the narcissist. I could tell you stories, but we're not going to do that now. I'll go back to YouTube. Have you ever watched these shoplifters go in? These come in. That's all ego. Hey, there's one, you may have seen this. They went to a convenience store owned by these two Indian gentlemen. Well, they were there. And then he had a big plastic bin on wheels, round one, with a plastic bag in it. And he was just pushing it through the aisle and taking stuff off the shelf, throwing it into the bin as he went. It's a black guy. And then next thing you see is one guy comes that works there and knocks him over, pushes him down on the floor. And then from out this side of the screen comes the other guy with a stick, with a wooden stick, and starts to beat the guy, beat him on his legs. And the guy's yelling and yelping. Yeah, well, guess what? That's somebody whose ego is completely out of control. The other example I will give you, have you ever watched these police chases? What are these guys thinking? Who's driving these cars and the police? Sometimes you got like 4, 5, 6, 7 police cars. Sometimes you got a helicopter above, tracking the guy. To him, this guy's never going to get away. Well, how does he think he's going to get away? It's not going to happen. And he's endangering, how many lives is he endangering? When he's driving 100 and 50 miles an hour or kilometers, you can have the traffic. Is that not a narcissist? That's an ego, completely out of control. Okay. Here's a quote from the Vedas. Reincarnation is simply a soul caught in the web of his own making. I'm caught in the web. Yeah, well, who spun the web, my friend? You did. Causing him to forget his true nature. When one recognizes the futility of serving the ego or trying to make oneself the center of the universe, then one gradually turns his glance back to the self, the soul, the Atma, and begins his journey back home to the spiritual realm, where the loving will of God and not the perverted will of the paltry ego reigns supreme. Isn't that beautiful? The paltry mortal ego is each man's greatest enemy. Who's your greatest enemy? Your ego. Because you think you're better than everybody, I'm superior to everybody, no one can tell me anything. You could have, there's two kinds of ego. You could have, what we're talking about so far here was an inflated ego. Like a big balloon, right? Take a pin. It can burst. What's the other term they call psychiatrists? Tell me. They call them shrinks. Why do they call them shrinks? Because they have to shrink the ego of their patient. When we have an inflated ego, that's where it comes from. The other side is a deflated ego. Which one do we want? We don't want either. A deflated ego says, oh, I'm not good, I can't do that. No one's gonna want me, I'm like this, no. Is that gonna get you anywhere in life? No. Either of those you don't want. We want to balance in the middle, right? And do we want to identify with the ego? No. You want to identify with the self, soul, the Atma. We're getting there. Okay. Action done according to duty or dharma in an atmosphere of neither love nor hate, without attachment to the result, is called action in the mode of goodness, contentment. Sattva. This is chapter 18 of the Bhagavad Gita. Action performed with great effort by one seeking to gratify his desires and enacted out of a sense of false ego. Prabhupada always calls it false ego because it's not your true identity. Is called action in the mode of passion or desire, rajas. And the last one, action performed in illusion, disregarding moral authority and the violence and distress it may cause others, and without concern for the negative karmic reaction it will result for you, is said to be in the mode of ignorance, tamas. With great understanding, a liberated soul devoted to God should live at home, Prabhupada says, just like a guest. Live at home like a guest. Wait, it's my house, I bought it. No, live at home like a guest. Without any sense of proprietorship or ego. You try to control everybody. Whoa, they're my family, I have my right to control them. Don't try to control them. Love them, help them, advise them. Be there for them. Push them around. They're not chattel for you to push around. Without any sense of proprietorship or ego. In this way, one should not become entangled or overly bound up in domestic affairs. Guess what? At the time of death, my friends, I don't know where you'll be. Hopefully in a holy place. Tirt of some kind. Or if you're like we are here in the Western world, you're going to be lying on a bed. It's either going to be your own bed, if you're lucky, or it's going to be in a hospital bed. And guess who's going to be gathered around you? Your family. On the one hand, that's very nice, isn't it? Everybody who loves you wants to be there with you. On the other hand, not such a good thing. What do you mean it's not a good thing? Well, if you're going to focus on your family members at the time of death, oh, I won't see that, I'm going to miss you. And your child or whomever throwing themselves on you and hugging you, crying, don't go, Dad, don't go. How are you going to think about God? Because if you have one material desire, one, oh, I just wish I could give him a body, fix him up. Here he's ready. Off you go. What is it? Sorry, can't think of the verse. We've gone through millions and millions and millions of incarnations through all the species. And we still haven't learned. Do not identify with people, things in our body here in the material world at the time of death. Because if you have one material desire or one material identification, fix him up, needs a body. Fix what? Read? Is that the crime? Oh, okay. All right, put him in a horse body for you, buddy. Horse body. Yeah. Okay. Number 5. Is it the soul? The passenger. Some of you did. See this. So the horses are the senses. The reins are the mind. The chariot is the body. The driver is the intellect. Who's this one? Scared in the back. That passenger is the soul. Oh my God, what is he going to do now? What is he do? He's going to run us right off the edge of this cliff. That's what's going to happen. Unless you're identifying with the soul. Oh, nice. Avanashi tatadvidhi yena sarvam idam tatam vinasham avayasyasya nakaschit kartum arhati. Second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, that which pervades the entire body you should know to be indestructible. No one is able to destroy the imperishable soul. Krishna had to remind Arjuna was confused at that point. I think mostly the Bhagavad Gita was for our benefit. Sure, it was for Arjuna's benefit. I think it's for our benefit. The soul, what is the soul? The soul consists of 3 things in particular. What are they? Sat, Chit, Ananda. Sat is eternity. Soul's eternal. Never dies. Don't worry about that. Chit, full consciousness, knowledge, awareness. Awareness of everything. It doesn't mean that you're automatically now you've become a physicist, necessarily. But you know how everything fits and how it all works and what the whole scheme was. You ever had a revelation like that sometimes in your life? Yeah, because you're in the midst of this thing, you can't figure it out, all of a sudden, whoa. Oh, that's what this is all about. That's what they're trying to do here. You ever had one of those? It might not be spiritual in nature, it could be material, but still, that's what it is. Like, oh my goodness, I never looked at it that way before. Yeah. That's called a revelation. a realization. No? And the third one, ananda, bliss, unadulterated bliss. Why? Because you bought a new car? No. Because you're in the state of consciousness, you're in Atmagrama, complete joy in the self. Because that's what we all want. We want this happiness 24/7. Yeah. Purport. Anyone can understand what is spread through the body. It is consciousness. Everyone is conscious of the pains and pleasures of his own body in part or as a whole. Pains and pleasures of your body are unknown to others. Therefore, each and every body is the embodiment of the individual soul, and the symptom of the soul's presence is perceived as consciousness. You are conscious of your body. Are you conscious of anyone else's body? No. Even though we sit close to each other, we could look at each other. Are we conscious of everything that's going on inside your body? What to speak of your mind? No. We're not. We're only conscious of our own body. It is 1/10,000th the tip of a hair. So can you even begin to imagine? You know how many absolutely wonderful, brilliant people are on the planet? You know, if you know of them, maybe you know some of them, you know them personally, I don't know. There's so many that they do these amazing things, whether they're athletes or whether they're scientists or whatever they may be, or singers or writers, or I don't know, could be anything. And you go, oh, this little soul, little spark. It has that ability. You stick it in this machine, watch me go. How do you wrap your mind around that? Anyone can understand that material body without consciousness is a dead body. And this consciousness cannot be revived in a dead body by any material means. Can you get a dead person to come back to life? A year ago, I went through a little something, and I went to hospital. I had to go to hospital. I had an emergency surgery. And when I came out of surgery, they had me on life support because my heart failed, my kidneys failed, and I couldn't breathe. So there I was in ICU. I have no recollection of it. I think my wife told me they put me in an induced coma. And of course they drugged me up with a lot of morphine. I just had surgery. And I was there for 4 days. You're supposed to be in like ICU for maybe a couple days. I was there for 2 weeks. But the first 4 days I was on life support. So now I have had an experience when I was 21 where I could see my whole life passed out. I saw my whole life pass in front of me. But I didn't see this a year ago. So maybe I was better. I don't remember anything about it, but there you go. Here I am. It wasn't my time. I haven't finished doing what I'm supposed to do here yet. Okay. The soul is atomic in size and can be perceived by perfect intelligence. It has complete consciousness, but it's covered over like a precious gem is encased in a rock. They have to mine a lot of gems in order to get the gem. They have to break it free from, what kind of rock do they call it? I can't remember now. Anyway, the rock, stuff they can't use, and liberate the gem. Then you have to have a guy who knows how to cut stones to cut the gem perfectly so it becomes a precious gem. Same with the soul. We're encased in this dense rock. There's no it only has consciousness because the soul is in there. That's all. But what about being in soul without all this dense rock. Mamai Sho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana Manatsa Shatstan Indriyani Prakriti Stani Karshati. The living entities in this conditional world are my eternal fragmental parts. Yeah, we are part and parcel of God. That's what we are. Are we God fully in all his manifestations? I don't think so. Because if we were, then we'd know everything there is to know about everybody and everything. Yeah. Due to conditional life, they're struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. Yes, no kidding. Okay, let's wrap it up. Spiritual consciousness here in the material world is like a crystal clear pond. When you're in spiritual consciousness, you see the clear pond. But at the bottom of the pond is fine black silt covering the bottom. When the pond is clear, only spirit, truth, and right action can possibly be expressed. When self-motivated material desires arise, it is similar to the stirring up of the pond, whose clarity then becomes clouded by the black silt of the egocentric mind. It's a great analogy. Okay, now, what is the symptom of the soul, my friends? How do we know, even though we may not be fully realized individuals, I'll tell you how you're operating when you're in soul power. What do we call it? We call it intuition. Your intuition. What is your intuition? Is it a theoretical, intellectual knowing? No. It's a feeling. And it's very, very valuable, extremely accurate all the time if you're in touch with it. I've talked to, again, thousands of people. So I've talked to many people about relationships. It's a big subject. So you met this guy, yeah. Mm-hmm. And you're really attracted. Oh yeah, he was so attractive. Oh my goodness. My heart was just going. Okay, in the first 5 minutes of meeting him, what did your intuition tell you? Oh, well, it told me he was really good looking. No, that's not your intuition. Okay, maybe you needed 30 minutes. I don't know. What did your intuition tell you about this? Oh, my intuition said, oh, he's a bad guy. You know, he's a dangerous guy. Oh. So the red flags were up, the alarm bells were going off, and you said what? Oh, I said, yeah, but he's so good looking, and he's this, and he's that, and he's charming, and And then you went into relationship with him, yeah. With the bad boy, yeah. And then what happened? You still with him? No? What happened? Let me tell you, he became the bad boy, right? Yeah. What did he do? He slept with my best friend. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Intuition will not steer you wrong. It's not just about relationships, it's about everything. You meet somebody, yeah? And this guy's got tells you to go, let's go into business together. You have all this knowledge, you have all this tech knowledge, and I have this great idea, and I got the money, and we're gonna go into business together, and we're gonna make all this money, right? And of course, it sounds really good, and that's what you wanna do, and you want that opportunity. You were hoping for an opportunity like that, but you didn't have the money, but you got the skills. And what does your intuition tell you about that guy? Right at the beginning. Can you trust him? Do you feel you can trust him? No, I wasn't sure that I could trust him. Oh. And then we went ahead, and what happened? What did we find out sooner or later? Couldn't trust him. That's your intuition. That's the soul. It's connected to the Paramatma, super soul in your heart. You must develop this, my friends. This is not even you on a high spiritual platform, because as you advance spiritually, your intuition, which is your wisdom, your innate wisdom, your inborn wisdom, becomes transformed into Brahma Vidya. Brahma Vidya, which is what? Spiritual vision. It's a whole other level. You know past, present, future. Those of you who have wisdom, no phones allowed. Those of you thank you. Wisdom. Remember when you were a kid, some of you, your friends would come to you with their problems. Oh, I don't know, I'm in this situation, I don't know if I should do this, I should do that. You go like, if you do this, this will happen. If you do that, that will happen. Really? How do you know that? I don't know, I just know. Is it intellectual knowing? No. It's this, my friends. You can feel it. You understand what I'm saying? And you say, you need to do that, not this. And what happens? It's exactly the way you said it. Oh, how'd you know that? I don't know. I just knew. How many times did you do that? Lots of times. That's your intuition. That's your connection to soul, right there. It's not Brahma Vidya, spiritual vision, yet, but it's on its way. If you ignore that, ignore it at your peril, as the expression goes. Thank you for your kind attention. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu.
Then what is the difference between intuition and Paramatma?
It comes from the Paramatma. We have everything we need. It's not like we have to go get something because we don't have it. It's built in. You got a soul. It's all there. We've covered it over. Or we say, oh, I can't do this, no, I can't do that. No, you can't, because your mind governs you. Or your ego governs you, or whatever. Why don't you connect with your soul and stop limiting yourself? And your intuition is the first pathway in, my friends. Oh, I see a little light in the tunnel. Let's go. That's your intuition. Until the tunnel goes, and it's all light. And that's you becoming a realized soul. Then what don't you know? It's not ego. It's just, you just know. Like your friend will come and tell you, hey, I got this, I might get hired at this company, this job offer. I'm really excited. And then something just comes up in you and you go, he's not going to get hired. It's not going to happen. You tell him that? Well, hopefully you don't. You don't rain on his parade. I don't know, it just strikes you. Yes, but you say nothing. 2 weeks later, what does he tell you? I didn't get the job. Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, that's too bad. You don't rub it in his face. You don't do that. Okay, any other questions? Anuji? Yes, some of you weren't here. There's a total eclipse of the moon right now, as we speak. The moon is in Aquarius with Rahu, and there's the moon, and there's Rahu going over it, but it is not predominantly where we are, nor will you see it, because the moon's not out, plus it's cloudy. And it's gonna be over about 9:30 this evening. So it'll hit its peak and then it'll dissipate. Purnima, it's Purnima, full moon today. Yes.
Yes, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you for
Haribol.
the class. I'm sorry I missed the very beginning, so my
Oh, see, that was the best part.
my question was, while I entered, you were telling us about how our thinking influences what we put out there.
Yeah.
But with the Western astrology, it gets a bit scary when people get entangled with manifestation. So how
You're right.
do we differentiate between what you were telling us and this part of the astrology?
That's a great question. Thank you for that. Yeah, you know, like you can't necessarily manifest everything. It's dependent upon your karma. And that's what we find in astrology, people's karma. And what we try to do, I mean, what I try to do when I do charts for people is connect them with the karma. And more often than not, there's things that they could do and levels they could achieve that they're not aware of. You know, and it's like anything else. You want to play to your strengths. In astrology, you can see people's best strengths. You can see their strengths, their weaknesses, their karmic lessons, what they would be doing best. You know, I had a girl call me one time, in fact, an Irish girl years ago, very nice girl. She had an exalted Venus in her birth chart. So this girl would be a brilliant artist or a designer or something or other, you know. She would just have tremendous talent. That excites me, so I can tell her about it, right? And she says, yeah, I just got a job with a newspaper. I said, oh, okay, she's doing ads or doing advertising or she's drawing or I don't know, you know, that's what I'm thinking. I said, so, okay, great, what are you doing? She says, I'm selling advertising. Oh. Selling advertising is Mercury, it's business, sales and marketing. And that was her weakest plan. I said, well, how are you doing with that? She said, oh, I'm doing terrible, I don't like it. I said, yeah, I know. But in about 8 months, you're gonna go into your Venus period, and then you're gonna be doing what you wanna do. So you wanna connect people up to their strengths. Sometimes people don't know what to do, and they're just go off in this direction, it's not suitable. Or sometimes it is suitable, and it just takes off for them, you know. It's not like one needs to have an astrology chart done. Some people never do it. They go through life and they're very successful. You know, that's fine. But it tends to work. I have clients in 56 countries, so I've talked to a few people. Anything else? Or we'd like to have a deep. I don't know the schedule here anymore, and it's all new to me.
Yeah, or RT.
What is the schedule?
4:30 to class, then 5:30 to 5:45. You know, questions and stuff like that, and then of course.
Oh, okay, more questions. I guess we didn't do enough questions. Yeah.
Can you remind me, Prabhu, when I was, because I also came late, but I was listening online before I came, and you mentioned something about that religiosity is like a dogma and spirituality.
Yeah, that's because we were listening to the Christians beat people over the head outside. People who ascribe to religions, if you're religious, you have a relationship with dogma. You understand dogma?
Yeah.
What they tell you things are and how it works. Yeah. And religions are very exclusive. In other words, they'll tell you, if you don't believe what we believe, you're going to hell. Well, I've been told that several times. Because we're all going to heaven. That's how they operate. All those religions. You know, and at the risk of telling a bad joke, for some people in Islam, yeah, oh, you don't believe what we believe? Well, then you're an infidel, we'll blow you up. That's like the extreme version of that, right? And spirituality is not a relationship with dogma, it's a relationship with God. Spirit. The Supreme Spirit. That is inclusive. We include everybody. We don't disinclude anybody. We don't push anybody away. And we don't tell them, oh, they're going to hell because they don't believe what we believe. No, we don't talk like that.
Very nice.
In the Old Testament of the Bible, you know, God is, he's old, he's angry, he's vengeful, and he'll smite you down. Well, you know, now people are all, what, afraid of God. Oh my God, don't do that to me. That fosters what? Guilt. And with guilt you get what? Punishment. Guilt and punishment. Isn't that how it works? Justice system. Well, we don't have a justice system anymore, but guilt and punishment. Right? What do we foster here? Love of God. Open your heart. Learn to love. You look, the seven levels of love. You know them? Love of your spouse, your partner. Love of your children. Love of your extended family. Love of your nation or your community. Love of humanity. Universal love. Love of God. Which one includes all the others? Tell me. Only one includes all the others. Love of God. When you love God, you love everybody. We should treat everybody always with respect, with courtesy, with compassion. Always. That's what we learn here. Who doesn't want to be treated like that? We do. You know, I've been to India so many times. I first went in '76. The thing that struck me, you go up to, I don't know, either a merchant or somebody, and they say, excuse me, sir, can you help me? I'm trying to find out, you know, usually want to go somewhere to find out something. Yes, I would help you. Well, I mean, if you're busy, or no, I have no choice. I must help you. That is my duty. You know how many times I've heard that in India? Countless times. From strangers. Yes, sir, I must help you. Thank you. And they help me. I don't get that here necessarily. Sometimes I do. Which the Irish people are nice people. But people will help tourists. Turistas. Anything else?
At this stage, I would ask two questions, and I donate two Bhagavad Gita. And what I've been doing that for the last 6 months, so I can do it right now.
This is the next part of the program.
He's teaching Bhagavad Gita now.
No, what he does is he asks a couple of questions, and when people will answer, whoever answers the questions,
It's a Gita.
Yeah, he gives.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah,
Very nice.
I just one last thing. I actually was it's kind of what you were saying about a joke. I know I had somebody like that yesterday on when we were doing Harinam, and she comes around a lot. Like she says, "You're all going to hell. You know, you're going to go to hell. You'll know when you die." And I was just thinking that if you're going to heaven, I don't really want to go where you're going. You know, it's just like.
Well, you know, I had the Jehovah's Witnesses at my door one time years ago. Two nice ladies. This is in Los Angeles. And they said, you know, we're from Jehovah's Witnesses. You have another name for it, I can't remember. And they started talking to me, and I said, yeah, okay, well, she said, do you know there's only 100,000 seats in heaven? That's all there is, 100,000. And by now, most of them are occupied. And I said, would you too? have seats. Yes, we have reserved our seats in heaven. I said, good. Thanks very much. I didn't insult him. It's like, if you're gonna be there, I don't wanna go. I didn't say that though. Sorry. Okay, are we good?
Jai.
First question. Name the two people who, in 1966 in New York, Prabhupada carried out the wedding. Name the two
Carried out what?
who performed the wedding ceremony. 1966 in New York. The question is left for the audience actually. To earn that book, you have to answer that question. There's a second part to that question. I can skip that and go to the second part. Does anybody know who the couple?
I know, but
You know the couple?
I know the bride, probably Yamuna Mataji, but I don't know who was the groom.
No,
Close.
she wasn't there yet.
Sister.
Close,
Was his
yeah.
sister.
She wasn't
was
there
his
yet.
sister.
I know Yamuna very, very well.
Was her name Joan? If I'm not wrong.
Sorry?
Was it Joan?
Chaturani.
No.
Janaki.
No, I mean
No.
the one who got married.
Yeah, that was Joan was Jamuna.
Okay.
Mukunda and Janaki.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Mukunda and Janaki.
And Janaki, did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mukunda and Janaki.
Guy.
Oh, was it? Mukunda Janaki?
Yeah, Mukunda and Janaki in 1966 in New York. Right. But there's a second part to that question.
Oh.
Just the second part. After the wedding, Prabhupada was going to go away for 6 months. What did Mukunda Das ask Prabhupada? And what was the reply that Prabhupada gave him?
Probably.
They just got married.
Yeah.
If I go any further, I'll be giving clues. What did
Pretty big.
Mukunda Das ask Prabhupada? And what was the reply that Prabhupada gave him?
Yeah.
In the same year, yeah?
Yeah, within days, within the next day, same day, next day.
He wanted to go to India, and Prabhupada said to him, if you go wherever you're going, try to open a temple.
No. But anyway, you've done the first part, but I'll give the answer to the second part. He said, we've just got married. We don't have a place to stay. And Prabhupada's reply was, I'm going for 6 months, you can use my apartment. You can use my apartment in New York.
Jeez,
Yes.
I don't remember
Oh,
seeing
yes,
that. You have to show me.
that's facts now. But we'll give you the book. Second question. Which avatar was responsible for leading to the purification of the Ganges River, the water of the Ganges River? Which avatar? One hand up. Any other hands? Yes?
Vaman Avatar.
Yes. And I'll explain that now. Can you explain that?
When Lord Vamana was taking a step, he
Yes.
punctured the spiritual boundary and
The
from
ethereal
there,
sky.
ethereal sky,
Yeah.
and from there the
And
water
what
for
about the
Ganga.
Ganga that beside for the ocean?
Yeah, and water came through washing his feet, and Brahmaji then took that water into his Kamandal.
That water would have exploded the earth. But what saved
Lord Mahadev's
Shiva, Mahadev, Shiva. Okay? It landed on his head.
But the water came from the spiritual world.
Yeah,
from-
exactly.
From Mahavishnu. That's where it came from, so it was already pure. From that point.
That's your book.
Jai Hare Krishna. So,
Sorry, I already have a Bhagavad Gita. Is there anyone who do not have it here? I would like to gift it.
okay, so we can all stand up now for the arti.
Adhikacharya Stotra Santa Shri Shivana's Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki, Iskan Panacharya Srila Prabhupada Ki, Nanta Guru Vaishnava Vrinda Ki, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki, Prem Zigaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki, Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath, Shama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki, Vrindavan Dham Ki, Mayapur Dham Ki, Jagannath Puri Dham Ki, Jamuna Maya Ki, Ganga Maya Ki, Tulsi Devi Ki, Bhakti Devi Ki, Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki, Ram Sankirtan Yoga Ki, Riyad Madanga Transcendental Book Distribution Ki, Bhadra Purnim Ki, Bhagavad Purana Ki, Bhagavatam Ki, Go Premanande, oh, glory to the assembled devotees, glory to the assembled devotees, glory to the assembled devotees, oh, glory to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. So, just before we have the Shingalay Bhagavan prayers, I just wanted to remind everybody today is Padma Purnima, and it's a kind of a very special day in which anybody who gives to Bhagavatam or distributed can actually go back to the spiritual world. Anybody here would like to go back to the spiritual world? Hands up. Nobody. Okay. Oh, one, two. Good. So going back to the spiritual world is something that's usually desirable. But if you want, we have this incredible book series that you can see the Srimad Bhagavatam there at the back. And we've distributed already today, believe it or not, 3 different sets of Bhagavatam. The Bhagavatam sets, they come at 200 euros. There's 18 volumes. And basically, they're incredibly, I've been reading them for 43 years basically, and every day I read Srimad Bhagavatam. And the reason for that is because Bhagavatam is Krishna, it's not different from Krishna, not different from God basically. He actually appeared, just as he left this planet, he actually appeared again in the form of the Bhagavatam. And it's specifically meant for people in this age. Anyone that says who's lost their vision in this dark age of Kali, will get light from this Purana. So it's non-different, same as Krishna, same as the deity, same as the mantra. The Bhagavatam is the most powerful method in this particular age to actually go back to the spiritual world. That's why it's said, but specifically on a day like today. We've already got 2 people who've bought them, but they've already had a set and they're gifting them to somebody else. But I'm saying that, is there anybody here who would like to get a set of Bhagavatams? Hasn't got wants to get a set? Hands up, anybody? I'll give you 10 seconds. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Let's see. Oh, no, I saw somebody's moving the cart. I saw that. So I've got anyone who would like to get on this very special day. Remember, it's incredibly. I know there's several people in the room who've already got. But if we could just get one, just to show our appreciation of it, if one person could get, that would be ecstatic actually. I know around the world they've distributed tens of thousands, and the most are distributed today. It's a universal effort to try to raise the consciousness of the whole planet. That's what's at stake ultimately. Now you can buy it, which is good. If you read it, that's better. But to have it in your home, is it Anurad? To have it in your home is a very special occasion. And we actually, if you want to install Bhagavatam in your home, a bunch of devotees will come and they will do a whole installation ceremony as well in your house. When you have that Bhagavatam set. So, any takers? Okay, Hare Krishna 10, Hare Krishna 9. Before we get to 1, Hare Krishna 8, Krishna 7. Anybody going to say anything? Get the Bhagavatam set? Krishna 6, Krishna 5, Krishna 4.5.
Would anybody like a set? I'm flying home next week, so I can't take it with me. But if anybody would like a set, I'm happy to get it.
Harima! That is such a generous offer. And who would like to be taken up on that? Anyone would like this?
Come on.
I shouldn't have you. Okay. You should say this. Bhagavatam said I have them downstairs. I actually have I think it's 4 sets I have left. So would anyone like to take it out? That's such a nice offer.
You're getting it for free.
Yeah.
I'll take it. I'll give it.
Yeah, sure.
Haribo! You've been saved, thank you. But just before I finish, I was only at 4.5. Maybe there's one more set out there. Krishna, 4.25. Anybody else? Don't scratch your head there because I think you want to step, you know. Krishna, 3. One more set. One more. Krishna, 2. Hare Krishna. One. Yay! We have one! There you go! That is, I tell you, it's the most auspicious thing to get the bottom of sets. This is any time, but this is considered to be the most specific time, most specific day, Bhadra for me, actually. And I have the quote afterwards, so you can see that quote. It's incredible. So is there, before I get to, I'm only at 1.5 to go. Do we have one more there? I'm sure there might be one more. I'm going to bring the sets down to the restaurant afterwards as well, so you'll see them. They're absolutely gorgeous. They're beautiful. 1.25. 1. Go on, you're amazing. 3/4. Half. Before I go. Arriba! Right, so now we're still at half. What's after? I'm a mathematician, so. A quarter. Oh, I wanted less though. I wanted to cut. Is it an 8 or something? Okay, a quarter. Last call. An 8. 1/8. One more. Could do it. Just this one effort for Krishna. I tell you, at the point of death, this will be the most auspicious thing you have done. Just the point of death. You're on your way to the spiritual realm, but then you've given this Bible time, and then you go all the way to the spiritual world. That's how powerful it is. 1/16. Almost one more. I'm just creaking there, by the way. Okay, thank you very much. 3 Bhagavatam sets. Hare Krishna. Okay. Mother is going to do the Ashika prayers and beyond. If anyone wants to stay on as well, Mother Party is one of the top kirtaniers. When I see him here, actually, I don't like it in here.
Krishna.
He's one of the top. He is.
Mind if I say a few words? Just quickly. Hare Krishna, everybody. My name is Siddhant. I live in London, study in London, but I've been working here for the past 3 months. I just want to say thank you to all of you for providing such a conducive community to me, with a sense of community, for sharing my love and devotion with all of you for Lord Krishna. So, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Namaste Narsimhaya.
आपने स्क्रीन बंद कर देना बंद कर देना
So bhajan is finished, or so now we can go for bhajan. Prashad. I can do more, but our Mudin player is he's blocked. He's blocked. He's not tired. He's blocked. He's blocked from here. It's okay. So we can go for Prashad. If you someone to sit, they can sit. They can have prayer. Hare Krishna. Today's Bhadra Purnima, so it's said in Shastra, whatever you have in your life, darkness, something positive, this go away today. That's all. If you do Harina, if you go outside and do some rubbish, then if you do Harina, only Harina. So who want to do Harina, they can sit, they can play, they can chant. No. Correct. Close.